If you look at the bottom left, you'll see that every single patient responded, meaning every single tumor that we treated shrank by at least 30%. And that, thank you.
Hi, I'm Laly David, and I'm vegetarian. Last year, I was standing here at the summit in line to get one of the 2,500 Beyond Meat burgers that were handed at the lunch break. This was a delicious burger. This was the best veggie burger I've had. 2 months after, it went to become the best IPO of the decade. Not only that this is a delicious burger and a great investment, but consuming Beyond Meat burgers, consuming plant-based burgers has a great, significant environmental effect. A Beyond Meat burger requires 50% less energy, and it creates 90% less greenhouse gas emissions. I'm happy to invite to the screen Seth Goldman, the executive chairman of Beyond Meat.
Hi, I'm Seth Goldman, executive chair of Beyond Meat, and I'm delighted to spend this special greeting to the OurCrowd Summit. You know, OurCrowd, combined with Proof, played an important role in Beyond Meat's last private financing, and your support helped us get on the runway for our IPO, which happened earlier last year, and you know how that turned out. You are all at a really exciting moment exploring food tech, and you can see a company like Beyond Meat can have such amazing impact, not just to the consumer and their health impact, but on our environmental footprint as well. When we can make a product that uses 99% less water and 93% less land compared to a beef burger, and then we can scale that business globally, we can really help change the way the meat industry impacts our planet and our health. I know you've got 2 really impressive food incubators there, and you're seeing all kinds of exciting concepts. Who knows, in the crowd there may be several Beyond Meats waiting to emerge. Last year, we served over 2,500 Beyond Burgers to the audience, possibly the largest plant-based sampling that's ever happened, at least in Israel. As you continue to grow, we wish you the best, and I look forward to reviewing some of these new ideas myself. All the best wishes for your gathering.
OurCrowd was able to invest in Beyond Meat before it went public. This is key to our value proposition. To share with us how we get into these deals, I'm happy to invite to the stage John Bacchus, the managing partner of Proof.
Thank you, Laly. Seth Goldman, the chairman of Beyond Meat, and CEO Ethan Brown have built an incredible company. And incredible companies become incredible investments. We first saw Beyond Meat in 2017. We bought shares at $11 a share. 2018, we invested again at $24 a share, a month before the company filed to go public. 2019, a month before the company actually went public, we invested again. Those last 2 times, we were able to bring in investors from OurCrowd. Almost 100 people invested in Beyond Meat through OurCrowd. That stock was the #1 performing IPO of 2019. Yesterday, the stock closed at $115 a share. Seth and Ethan did all the work. You know, we at Proof, our job is to find great companies out there. And we work with some of the top venture capital groups in America. We find great companies, we curate them, we write the due diligence memos, and we bring them to you, investors from OurCrowd that are investors in our fund Proof. It's the job of our team. I'm here with my partner, Jenny Schroeder. My partners, Thanasis Delastathis and John Burke, are back in Washington, D.C. It's our 3rd time at OurCrowd. OurCrowd's a great investor for us. You can see a couple of the companies that we've brought to the crowd here. And I guarantee you there are more Beyond Meats out there. Our job is to find them, to bring them to you, and to let you invest in them directly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. We look forward to make additional investments as Beyond Meat. In 2014, we invested in a very small company in Jerusalem. The company was led by a brilliant team with unique experience in computer vision from a military R&D unit and later on from Mobileye. At that time, in 2014, the company was focused on accurate diagnostic of malaria. But already then, in 2014, the company was working on tackling the holy grail of blood test, complete blood count, CBC. At the same time, at the other side of the globe, another company was tackling complete blood count, Theranos. 5 years later, and we all know how to compare between Site Diagnostic and Theranos. And to go beyond the hype, I want to invite to the stage the CTO of Site Diagnostic, Sarah Levy. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Laly. It's a pleasure to be here. And I guess it's safe to say every one of us in the crowd had a blood test, right? You go to see your doctor because you're not feeling well, and your doctor requests one. Let's wait for the results, they say. So you wait for the following morning to go to the clinic. They stick a needle in your arm, which may hurt. They collect a vial of blood and send it to the central laboratory. Then you need to wait some more. You might wait a day, if not more than that, for the results. You might feel anxious about the results. When the results are ready, you wait to see your doctor for a follow-up appointment, and maybe then your treatment can begin. All this waiting and all this worry, just because your blood has to be tested at a professional laboratory. Just because until now, the most commonly ordered blood tests require large, complex, and expensive machines that can only be operated by professionals. We at Site are here to change that, and I'm pleased to introduce Olo. Over the past decade, Site has developed a new way for blood testing, using a finger prick of blood with results in minutes. Our blood analyzer creates 1,000 images from just 2 drops of blood. This digitized blood sample is analyzed by our proprietary AI algorithms to visually classify and count individual cells and components in the blood. The Olo analyzer offers doctors and patients lab-grade results at the point of care in 10 minutes. So no more waiting, no more painful needles, and most importantly, no more delays to treatment. And thank you. And I'm proud to announce that recently the Olo analyzer received FDA 510K clearance. And this, very exciting for us, and this FDA clearance is a legal stamp of approval that our technology works. In fact, the FDA considers Olo to have the equivalent accuracy and precision as the state-of-the-art lab equipment that costs 10 times the price. They based their decision on extensive clinical trials at the Harvard Boston Children's Hospital and Columbia University Medical Center. Olo is now available for sale across 5 continents and is already being adopted across Europe and the United States. With 4 billion complete blood counts requested annually, Site has access to capture and disrupt this huge market. And we're very excited to be raising a Series D to meet market demand by scaling our production lines and our global sales teams.
Thank you very much, Sarah. As part of our diligence for this upcoming round, we sent our very own CEO to test the device.
What do you need me to do?
Great. What I need from you is a finger and 2 drops of blood, just like you said. Very tiny scratch, and your complete blood count will be done in 10 minutes.
Here you go, in 10 minutes. Okay, a blood test, a full blood test with a drop of blood. Complete blood count. That's great.
Moving from the perspective of the patient to the actual hospital, I'm delighted to invite to the stage Dr. Melnick from the Children's Hospital at Miami, which is the first US customer of SiDiagnostic. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
Maybe you can share with us, to begin with, how did you come across SiDiagnostic and how is it being used at the hospital?
I had the opportunity to participate in a demonstration of OLO in November 2018 at Nicholas Children's Hospital, Miami, Florida, where I serve as chief of the Department of Pathology in the clinical laboratories. I've always believed that it's essential to be an early adapter of laboratory technology because this is the best way to care for our patients. So when I saw the OLO, I really felt this fit well with our paradigm, which has evolved over the past 20 years. We conducted an investigational study that lasted about 3 months, where we compared the OLO to our standard hematology analyzer, which we refer to as the gold standard. Not only did the OLO compare equitably with the gold standard equipment in the clinical laboratory, but the OLO could be operated by almost anyone with minimal training, without maintenance, with 2 drops of blood. That is something that's unheard of with conventional hematology analyzers. So with that, we decided we're going to pursue this further. There are significant barriers to CBC analysis out in the community where it's really desperately needed because of the complexity, because of the skill that's required to operate it. But the OLO has diminished those barriers that allows us to be able to introduce this kind of technology as a point-of-care system that can be easily operated and provide the benefit of a complete CBC analysis for patients out in the community. So with that, we made the decision to expand the OLO into our urgent care centers. It's a network of 11 centers in South Florida, which care for children out in the community, and we're going to roll them out beginning next week. We're thrilled that next week will be the first implementation of an OLO in the United States, and afterwards we're going to roll them out further over the next year or so.
First implementation in the United States. Well done. What excites you about the future of using this technology?
Well, I believe that the OLO will be able to decentralize lab testing, meaning that the testing can be done outside the environment of a hospital or a commercial laboratory. It's very important that it not only be in urgent care centers, but in the United States, there's an evolving paradigm of commercial or retail health clinics which operate in drugstores, for example. So it's becoming an opportunity where the OLO can actually fit well with other point-of-care technology to serve patients in the community much more broadly. It's also important to decentralize CBC analysis within the hospital. We have 3 different types of intensive care units. We have an emergency department. If we can decentralize CBC testing to bring it where the children are in those units, we can save valuable time performing this vital test. There's another important aspect. When a CBC is done, all the devices will provide different types of flags indicating that there might be an abnormality in different blood cells. When that happens, it's essential to review it microscopically. Usually, a medical technologist or a pathologist has to look at a prepared slide from the blood. Sometimes we have to travel to the site where the test was done and provide a consultation to the physician so we can direct the appropriate care for the patient. We don't need to worry about this with the OLO, because not only is the data in a digital form, so are the images. So the image capture and the data can be viewed anywhere by anyone at any time to provide immediate consultation with a physician treating a patient. And this is the way healthcare should be done in the 21st century. It shouldn't wait hours or even days to get a result. So this is really something that's going to change things drastically as we see this become more decentralized.
Thank you very much, Dr. Melnick. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you here. Moving very quickly, because we are out of time, moving very quickly to the perspective of investors, Site Diagnostic is currently raising. I want to ask you, Sarah, what is the plan for this Series D fundraise?
So we are raising funds now to be able to meet market demand. As we enter our next phase of growth, we intend to significantly scale our production lines and our global sales teams. And we are having a lot of interest from investors, and we aim for a Series D of $50 to $70 million.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Site Diagnostic is currently funding on the site. I urge everyone to join this company. Thank you so much. As we know by now, Israel is known to be the land of brilliant startup technologies and founders. They take a journey from a concept to a technology to a solution. Many times this journey is taken alongside an industry leaders whose vision and resources enable the founders to reach results way beyond what was initially in the concept. We here at OurCrowd facilitated in this summit alone 500 meetings between industry leaders and portfolio companies looking to reach that technology integration. Similarly, we facilitated an introduction between one of the world's biggest companies and one of the world's smallest companies. And I'm delighted to invite to the stage Shah from PepsiCo and Tal from VocalZoom to share insights from this journey.
At PepsiCo, every morning we get up and go to work on a mission to create more smiles, every sip and every bite. Already, we inspire 1 billion smiles every day. Our future is limited only by our imagination, so we're dreaming big, harnessing our talent, ingenuity, and passion to become a faster, stronger, and better company. So why stop at 1 billion smiles? Our new goal is to deliver 2 billion smiles every single day all across the world. One sip and one bite at a time.
So PepsiCo and VocalZoom, with this size difference, how do you manage? Do you even speak the same language?
Thank you for the question, Laly, and good morning, Jerusalem. When we say big, obviously we appreciate how big a company like PepsiCo would appear to a startup. We are a huge company with a global reach. So we've got hundreds of brands. 22 of those brands are in the billion-dollar club. We've got over 250,000 associates worldwide. We've got one of the largest privately owned truck fleets in the world. So we are big, but having said that, we do also need to deliver on our corporate strategy. And this is something that we call winning with purpose. So winning with purpose is about essentially winning in the marketplace versus our competition, gaining share, serving our consumers and customers well, and then also making a difference in the society by delivering on our sustainability journey. And we can only do that, we can only achieve these goals by becoming faster, stronger, and better. And that's where innovative tech companies like VocalZoom come in.
What is it that you do at VocalZoom?
So VocalZoom provides the key element for manufacturers like PepsiCo to upgrade their factories and improve their operational efficiency, improve their quality inspection, and also monitor the machine health in their factories. The way we do that is that we sell sensors, laser sensors, that many of you know that we originally developed them for voice applications, but now we're using them to what we call the first industrial autonomous sensor. This sensor is being used in the factory to do contactless remote sensing of machinery. We cover a very wide range of applications and use cases, and we can even provide data that was not available before, like, for example, measuring the vibrations of a rotating element like a driller in a CNC machine. The way we bridge the gap, the way we work with a large giant like PepsiCo is that the first thing we need to do, and that was a very good part of the collaboration, we need to answer 3 questions. The first question is whether we have a killer application, and this was a study that went very well with PepsiCo at the first phase. The second thing is that we need to make sure that we have a good product market fit, and that requires a lot of collaboration with the giant to establish the product features that we need. And the last thing that we need to answer is the projection side. Not just the size of the potential and the sales, but also the time to market that we can live with in terms of lifetime.
So PepsiCo meets VocalZoom, and within few weeks you reach 100 different use cases. How is that even possible?
Yeah, so at PepsiCo we realized that we simply cannot afford to think like a big traditional company when it comes to innovation. So we're always looking to experiment with novel and agile ways of working and processes when it comes to commercializing innovation. So with VocalZoom, rather than take a standard slow burn governance approach, we leapfrogged the system, and really we did two things. So one, we crowdsourced use cases from across our European sector, and two, then we evaluated them on-site in a rapid 3-week sprint. So after the initial ideation, we got about 20 technical experts from across our sector, together with SMEs from VocalZoom, on-site in a factory in Turkey, in one of our factories, and we road tested the ideas. And that's where we got to the approximately 100 use cases. It was just under 100. And then we prioritized them down to about 3 lead use cases. So obviously those use cases having the highest, biggest impact to the business and the largest likelihood of success. This likelihood of success point is really important actually, because where an energetic startup like VocalZoom will obviously see limitless potential and just so many applications, the corporate and the project management team in the corporate has to apply a real-world lens and see how we can integrate those great ideas into existing business processes and kind of peel away the layers of complexity. So really we're looking for the optimal win-win.
Actually, the experience was quite unique. We did a lot of work with a lot of corporates in the past. And what happened here is that we saw that the team in PepsiCo took our presentation and squeezed it to this very small one-pager that had just the picture and a very small description of the sensor. I thought at this point, that's not going to work. I can't understand from this one pager what it does, but they spread it all over the divisions inside PepsiCo. And within no time, they started getting feedbacks, not just from the innovation and the engineers, but also from the actual people working in the factory. They started getting this feedback about all kinds of use cases and applications, and eventually they wrapped that into one spreadsheet that had this map of applications, the priority and the value for PepsiCo, which eventually answered the 3 questions about what's the killer applications, what's the market potential, and also what's the product market fit. So that was quite a unique experience happening very quickly, and now we're actually ready to engage.
So you went through a great process, but is it at the end of the day all about the people, building relationships?
Yeah, you're spot on, Laly. So yes, it is always about the relationship, and really building a strong relationship grounded in trust was at the bedrock of everything that we did. But it couldn't have happened without that. And how we achieved that, I think, was developed a bit of a microculture. And the fundamentals of this microculture were around going super fast, being super honest, being super impactful, and super personal. So when it came to speed, being super fast, so we're in constant communication. We opened up all lines of communication, phone calls, emails, site visits, whatever was needed. Super honest, so we really don't BS each other. So if one party comes up with a cool idea, we say so. If one party does not, we also say that. Super impactful, so again, goes back to what I was telling you about the highest likelihood of success. So we have to prioritize what is important. And super personal, so it wasn't like one big corporate monolith working with a small company. It was actual people. So in the crowd, we've got our project manager, Ahmed Khan. We've got our venturing manager, Anna Farberov. And they were dealing with people from VocalZoom day in, day out, and really cultivating the relationship over months.
Thank you very much, Tal and Shah. Thank you very much. Cancer. Without asking the crowd to raise your hands, I'm certain that at least 50% of the crowd has either been diagnosed with cancer or had a very close relative being diagnosed with cancer. And I wish we did magic. I wish we had this technology that would prevent this disease. But till then, we're focusing on investing in technologies that support early detection, like Zebra Medical, and cure different types of cancer, like Insight Tech, Barcode Diagnostic, Heal, and Alpha Tau. And I'm delighted to invite to the stage the CFO of Alpha Tau, Raphi Levy.
Thank you, Laly. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Summit. It's a pleasure to be here and to share with you just a bit of the Alpha Tau story and how it is that we're looking to offer cancer patients a new alternative. Unfortunately, as Laly mentioned, many of you will be familiar with cancer from personal experience, whether personally or through a loved one. And as you know, there are a number of available options out there, but the cornerstones of local tumor control remain surgery and radiation, two very important treatments. Both of them, of course, have their shortcomings. Surgery has its own risks, and many patients are too elderly or too infirmed to survive the treatment, and it can involve as well deformation or reduced quality of life. Radiation, by contrast, has also its own drawbacks. It can lead to fatigue, in many cases, nausea or vomiting or sores, depending on the nature of the radiation. And so we are looking to offer patients to go beyond the existing alternatives and offer them new ones. And the way we're doing that is that we're using a different kind of radiation that's currently used, one called alpha radiation. People have tried for years to figure out how to use alpha radiation because it's so much more potent that you can use lower levels of radiation, reduce the toxicity, and still be effective in killing a tumor. And unfortunately, for years, people have failed in finding a way to deliver an alpha radiation into the tumor, until now. So let me just show you quickly how it is that we do this alpha radiation delivery.
The treatment is delivered by inserting alpha dart seeds into the tumor. These seeds have radium-224 atoms fixed to their surface. When the radium decays, its short-lived daughters are released from the seed, disperse in the tumor, and emit high-energy alpha particles which destroy the tumor. Since the alpha-emitting atoms hardly diffuse in healthy tissue, the alpha dart mainly affects the tumor, sparing the healthy tissue around it.
So we're excited by this technology, and we've been using it now for a while in patients, and we've seen fantastic data. I'll show you just a little bit of it. This is from a trial that we published last year. It was done in patients with skin or head and neck cancer. If you look at the bottom left, you'll see that every single patient responded, meaning every single tumor that we treated shrank by at least 30%. And that, thank you. I'm not the inventor, I'm just a CFO, so applause is not for me. And that, by the way, is not an obvious conclusion. If you look at the bottom right, you'll see 42% of these patients already had radiotherapy and weren't getting the benefit that they need. Right? And this is, of course, the worst part of this environment that we work in. Patients go through these surgeries, go through this radiation therapy, they suffer through all the side effects, and they still don't always see the benefit that they need, which is where we want to be helpful. So the fact that we were able to get 100% of the tumors to respond was an outstanding outcome for us. In addition, you'll notice in the bottom left, 79% of the tumors had a complete response, meaning 79% of those tumors disappeared over the 30 days that we were watching them, which is, it's a fantastic outcome. We're very excited about this. We are, of course, looking to push that number as close to 100% as we can. I think the best part of this is that all this was achieved without any of the side effects you usually see in radiation therapy. None of the systemic side effects whatsoever. What patients tend to see is some local side effects in the area of the treatment, mild or moderate side effects that go away in a few weeks, maybe some swelling or some itching, nothing serious or life-threatening. And so again, for these patients, we're offering them a new alternative, one which has been shown for them to be both more effective and also less toxic. To bring this point home, we're going to be joined on stage today by one of our earlier patients in Israel. Leah has graciously agreed to come tell her story. If we can give her a round of applause, I'd appreciate it. Thank you for joining us, Leah. As Leah is a Hebrew speaker, Laly will help me in translating our questions. So, Leah, thank you again for the time. If you can tell us just a bit about how you discovered the cancer and what were your available treatments.
איך גילית את הסרטן ומה קדם לזה?
לפני 2.5 גיליתי בלחי הימנית חדשקון, וניסיתי בדרכים הרגילות להוציא אותו, והוא סירב. אחרי ביקורים אצל רופא ועוד רופא, לקחו ביופסיה וגילו שזה תא סרטני.
So the cancer was originally discovered when she saw a pimple on her cheek, or what seemed to be a pimple. Unfortunately, when she went to the doctor and had a biopsy, they discovered it was cancerous. Sorry, and then what were the available treatment options available to you?
מה היו הטיפולים? אבל לפני כן כבר היה לך סרטן? כבר הכרת מחלה?
כן, באותו זמן הייתי מטופלת בבית חולים אחר, בסרטן הכליה, ריאות, עצם, ושמצאו את התא הסרטני הזה, ניסיתי להמשיך באותו בית חולים בטיפול, ולא כל כך הלך. התחלתי לעבור בין רופאים שונים, ובינתיים עם הזמן גילו עוד אחד ועוד אחד, ואחרי חצי שנה הגעתי שיש לי 5 סרטנים בלחי.
So Leah had already been treated for other cancers, and when they discovered this one, they tried first a single treatment, which didn't work, and then over time, those pimples expanded and she found multiple lesions on her cheek. So what were the options available to you? What do they suggest you do then to treat those tumors?
איזה הצעות טיפול נתנו לך? מה היו האלטרנטיבות?
בהתחלה דיברו על טיפול שטוח יותר, קילוף עור ותיקון, ולאט לאט שכמות הסרטנים עלו, דיברו על ניתוח פלסטי של ממש הסרת הלחי והשתלת לחי חדשה עם הקרנות.
So while the initial treatment options were more superficial, as those tumors continued to grow, the recommended treatment moved towards complete removal of the cheek in a plastic surgery, followed by radiation as well. And so how did you encounter the alpha dart, and what was that treatment like for you?
איך הכרת את אלפא טאו ואיך היה הטיפול הזה בשבילך?
באותו שבוע שהודיעו לי שאני חייבת לעבור ניתוח והקרנות, ואני את שניהם לא רציתי, הגוף שלי ממש התנגד להם. יומיים אחרי זה קיבלתי טלפון בערב מחברה טובה, שהיא פגשה אחיין שלה, שסיפר לה על המחקר שעובד בה בסרטן עור. היא שאלה אותי איזה סוג סרטן יש לי, שאמרתי לה שזה SEC, היא אמרה את מיד מצלצלת לאחיין. בבוקר...
רגע, let's stop. Please translate.
I have to remember all of it. So after being told of the treatment options, which Leah was very much not supportive of, given how intensive they were, she was speaking with a friend who had heard through her nephew of the trial that we were doing for the Alpha DART product, which actually was a good fit for her type of cancer, the squamous cell carcinoma. And so tell us a bit about the treatment itself and what were the results for you.
איך היה הטיפול? מה חווית במהלך הטיפול?
בבוקר דיברתי עם אותו אחיין, 3 שעות אחרי זה הייתי בבית חולים בלינסון אצל פרופסור פופוביצר, ואחרי יומיים, 3, כבר עשו לי את הטיפול. ברור שעברתי לבית חולים שלו. הטיפול היה בחדר 2 על 3, עם מיטת טיפולים אחת, שנמצאים בו 5 אנשים מסביב, אני על המיטה, הרדמה מקומית, ורקמו לי את הלחי בשיטת אלפא דארט.
So that morning she spoke with this person, the employee at our company who connected her to the trial. Later she met the doctor, and 2 or 3 days later she was already being treated. The treatment was done in a regular room in the hospital, 2 by 3, quite small. A few people standing around the bed, and they inserted, under local anesthesia, they inserted a couple of darts into her cheek.
Leah.
And please continue.
ומאז אני כל בוקר אומרת תודה רבה לחברה אלפא טאו על הצלה כזאת גדולה שהם הצילו אותי מניתוח וטיפול שאחרי 2 עדיין עובד וימשיך לעבוד. תודה גדולה.
Maybe I'll translate.
Thank you,
Every morning.
Leah, being appreciative for all the excellent outcome. Leah, תודה רבה לך. מאחלים לך רק בריאות שלמה. תודה רבה לך על העזרה. Thanks. So truly an outstanding outcome for Leah, of course, and many other patients whose lives we've touched. And really, I think for us, the opportunity here is staggering. If you look just in the US alone, you see there are over 4 million skin cancer patients a year, many of whom are getting adequate treatment, but we estimate tens or even hundreds of thousands of patients are not getting adequate relief. And that's just in the US before we think about other geographies and all the other indications where we can be helpful. So we're very excited by the opportunity ahead of us. We're thankful to OurCrowd for their support. And don't forget to vote for Alpha Tau for 2030.
Thank you so much, Raphi. The session that we are just now ending was about going beyond. And it takes a partnership to go beyond. You go beyond the food, beyond the hype, beyond medicine, and beyond the concepts. And I'm happy to have a new partner of OurCrowd, Seagate Technology, here on stage. Seagate have recently joined OurCrowd Innovate, which is OurCrowd new innovation program. And we look to do great and wonders with Seagate together. Seagate Technology is a world leader in data storage technologies, and I'm happy to invite to the stage Dr. Dave Mosley, the CEO of Seagate.
From the first hard drives to solutions built for the rise of the cloud and the edge, triumphs of technology drive Seagate forward. To craft the DATASPHERE is to prize and preserve humanity's best memories and achievements. Seagate has answered this call for over 40 years. From continent to continent, we span the globe. Our job is to make a better, more humane DATASPHERE. Because to make is human. And we are all makers.
Thank you. Good morning. As I sit and listen to all of these presentations, I want to compliment OurCrowd, and I want to compliment everyone here for investing in such a vibrant community. It's wonderful to see the stories. I'm so blessed to even be a part of this. I think from Seagate's perspective, we're a team of teams, and we need your help. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit today. Everything that we've seen this morning rests on data. Data understanding, data in motion, data being processed, AI, machine learning, and we know that it's our part to do a better job with this data. There will be 175 zettabytes of data being created by man in 2025. 175 zettabytes. Today, Seagate is shipping about 1 exabyte per day. So a small fraction of what's available. Most of the data, unfortunately, will be thrown away. Hopefully, some of it that's more valuable, as we've seen today, will be processed before it's thrown away. But most of it's probably not going to be stored for very long. And it's really interesting. In that lies tremendous opportunity for improvements on all of the vectors that we've discussed this morning. I've already had just some fantastic meetings this morning on these fronts. There's 40,000 people at Seagate, and we've been around for about 40 years. So you think about the team that I represent, it's a team of teams, and it needs to stretch out into the world to understand what our products are doing out in the world and how we contribute to the world. I think the format didn't work out here very well. I'll ad lib a little bit then. So my background is as a solid state physicist. That's a person who understands metals and magnetics and devices at a very, very small level. My hero is Isaac Newton, and one of his famous quotes is, if I've seen further, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. Now this is his attempt, I think, to compliment his predecessors, his teachers, his acknowledgement that without those teachers that he would not have been where he was. I think now in the realm of today, it's not about one person anymore, is it? It's about teams of people, and a long history of how we got to where we are. So we are teams of people who stand on the shoulders of teams of giants. Even at Seagate, 40,000 people and contributing so much for so long. Our industry has built 3.2 billion hard drives at Seagate to service the world over those 40 years. All the learning is so dependent upon teams. And that's really why we're here today, is to say, how do we reach out in the coming data revolution so that we understand what we need to do next? We're not just building PC drives anymore. We're not just building drives for the cloud. We're doing a lot of things to understand how data is actually flowing in the world. We have to understand how it's being used, how it's being stored, what people really need to do with it, and when and where. And the way we do that is not just to talk to our biggest customers, because they're not the ones who necessarily will take us in a new direction. And I'm learning so much today just listening to the talks, the meetings that I've already had this morning about people who will create large amounts, huge new data sets, especially in healthcare, but smart factories, smart cities, financial applications, telcos. There's so much for us to learn. And to that end, I'm very happy that Seagate has now opened a site in Israel. Thank you. It's not something that we thought of yesterday. It's been going on for a number of years after our investments a few years ago in Israel. But what that site is about is it's not a sales office. It's not a place to try to influence people. It's a place to try to learn. The community here is so vibrant, especially the entrepreneurial community, but even the big companies are so vibrant. It's great to get in and talk about these things. We know our place. Our place is to design and develop new products that can store all the world's data and get it to these new applications as fast as possible. If we do it collaboratively, we'll be successful. I, again, want to really compliment OurCrowd on their leadership in helping us bring these kinds of vibrant forums together. And then the community itself, it's so interesting to see your passion, and it inspires me a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you for being here with us. And we're looking to celebrate the wins of Seagate Technologies here on the stage 1 year from now. Thank you very much for being with us.